So can you tell us a little bit how hyperconverged is addressing the sort of developing edge market at the moment?
Yeah, I think, and I can only do that from a scale perspective, of course, is that edge computing is basically doing the compute at the location where it makes most sense. And that depends on the customer, that depends on the application, depends on how that organization is structured, etc. So in our case, because of the design of the software that we've developed, it's very much possible to basically run that at a central location and scale big to multiple nodes. But also to go down to the edge and to remote locations where the cluster can be a 3-node cluster at a certain specification, a certain capacity. We can also scale down to, let's say, the smaller environments, the thinner edge, if you will, to a single node. Yeah, so the software is very scalable to go up and to go down, and the further you get away from the central location or the central cloud, the thinner it needs to become. And so we can scale up and we can scale down. That's the beauty. It also is made very simple because typically at the edge, the knowledge and the head count is in most cases isn't there. Yeah, and we have examples in retail and we have examples in distribution where everything needs to be managed remotely. Everything needs to be super simple on the location. If something goes wrong, it will be taken care of by the cluster, of course, because hyperconvergence by nature is designed to be redundant. So we can basically offer that functionality in a very light footprint. Because we developed the software ourselves from scratch, the footprint and the choice of the power of the nodes is way different than all the other vendors in this space. And therefore you can basically run our software on a lighter node or a lighter cluster at a remoter location and use the replication functionality and the data protection functionality to make it a part of the total solution and the total IT infrastructure.
Okay. And have you perhaps got an example you could share with us of an actual customer that's been implementing this kind of solution?
Yeah, we recently, and we're still doing that, rolling out a solution for a company called Aad Dekkers, which is a combination of a Dutch and a Belgian food retail store, a chain. And they've selected Scale after looking at all the new technology providers, so all the hyperconverged players in this space, all the usual names, but also Scale. And for them, the choice for Scale was obvious after, let's say, a selection of almost a year, that we could basically offer them a solution in store at the price points and the simplicity that they required. And that's how we basically won this deal, and that's why we're rolling this out to that organization. So remote management, a very simple solution, a redundant solution because stores can't go down. Yeah, a very scalable. So if the store grows, we can add nodes to the cluster. But even if they want to deploy this into, let's say, smaller stores or stores in store, we can go down to a single node and basically offer the same functionality for smaller environments. And I think that's a great example of an edge solution. Yeah, offering the right IT resources at locations where it's needed the most, and that depends on the application. Yeah, and we all know that stores and retail and that whole environment is requiring more and more virtual machines for new applications that will make the store more intelligent. So they basically know more about the people that buy their food or that buy their products, and therefore be more successful. And that's what we're doing every day.
Okay. And just before we finish, are there any other sort of obvious applications and or industry sectors where you're seeing a lot of traction at the moment, or is it a nice sort of spread across a range of industries?
No, I think the other example is where managed service providers are more and more looking at our technology these days, because we are now in the position to offer our platform as a solution that people and customers of those service providers can pay per month. Yeah, so it's a more flexible way of buying the functionality and pay and support the MSP for offering this to its customers on a monthly fee basis. And that of course requires new functionality that will be added to the platform. We've done that and we will continue to do so. And that's a good example where they will support more and more smaller environments, typically with single nodes or small clusters that can scale up and in some cases scale down. But they take the same functionality, virtualization, hyperconvergence, a future-proof platform, very light, very simple to manage, with data replication, data protection, everything that you need in an appliance model.
Okay, that's great. Thanks so much for your time.